The hammer comes down, and a man raises his paddle one last time. His heart is pounding. He just won. On the block in front of him is a car that would cost twice this at a dealership, and he got it for a fraction of the price. The auctioneers chant, the crowd, the adrenaline of the final bid still ringing in his ears. He beat the system. He got the bargain everyone talks about, and almost nobody actually lands. He drives home that night, feeling like the smartest buyer in the room. Now let's jump forward 3 weeks. Same man. He's standing in his garage, staring at two things. The first is an invoice, and it is a great deal larger than the number he shouted at the auction. The second is the car itself, which right now is making a sound like this: click, 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 and going absolutely nowhere. The key is in his hand. The engine is dead. And that triumphant feeling from the auction floor has curdled into a very specific kind of dread. This is the part the auctioneer never mentions. You've seen the videos. I bought a $30,000 car for $3,000 at auction. Dealers don't want you to know this. Police seized cars for pennies on the dollar. The promise of the wholesale price, the insider's discount, the treasure hunt where you walk away with a car worth 10 times what you paid. And here is the first thing nobody tells you, the thing that quietly turns that dream inside out. The hammer price is not the price. It is where the bill starts, not where it ends. And I am going to show you exactly what gets added on top with a real number for every single hidden line. Because the real question at an auction was never, how cheap can I get this car? The real question, the one that separates the people who win from the man in the garage, is this: what am I agreeing to take on, blind, in exchange for that discount? Because at an auction, the car comes with a key. But that key does not promise the engine starts. It does not promise the title is clean. And it absolutely does not promise the bill is finished. So we're going to do 3 things. We're going to expose the stack of fees that turns a bargain into a shock, starting with one charge that can add 20% before you've done anything at all. We're going to open up the title, which is where the real bomb is buried. The single piece of paper that can cut a car's value in half. And we're going to look at why buying a car you were never allowed to test drive is a risk almost nobody prices in. And we'll do it across all 4 of the big markets: the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada. Because every one of them hides a different trap in the fine print. By the end, you'll know exactly what the hammer is really selling. And it isn't a cheap car. Let's start with the line that kills the fantasy. The winning bid, that number you shouted, the one that felt like victory, is just the first line of the invoice. It is the beginning of the bill, not the end of it. And sitting right on top of it is a charge called the buyer's premium. The buyer's premium is the auction house's cut, and it is a percentage of your winning bid, usually somewhere between 5 and 15%, and on some platforms it climbs toward 20%. Let me make that real. You win a car for $15,000. You feel great. Then, a 10% premium adds $1,500, and just like that, your $15,000 car is a $16,500 car, before you've touched anything else. And notice the cruelty of a percentage. The more the adrenaline pushes you to bid, the bigger this fee grows automatically in lockstep with your excitement. And the premium is only the first pipe. Underneath it, the fees stack. There's a registration fee just to raise your paddle, anywhere from $50 to $500. There are condition report fees, title handling fees, arbitration reserves, another $150 to $300 per car before the vehicle has moved a single inch. And then there's transport. If the car you won is sitting in a yard 6 states away, getting it home can run you $1,000 or more. And here's the part that quietly forces bad decisions: the clock. The auction yard gives you a short, free window to collect your car, often just a few business days. And the moment it closes, they start charging you daily storage. So the transport has to be booked the same day you win, ready or not. The whole system is built to keep you moving too fast to think. Now, if you think that's brutal, look at the United Kingdom, because the fine print there hides the single biggest number most new buyers forget. On top of the premium, most lots sold by a registered business carry 20% VAT, value-added tax, charged on the hammer price itself. On a £5,000 bid, that is £1,000 extra before a single fee is added. Buyers see the low hammer price, feel the thrill, and completely forget the tax that's about to land on top of it. There's a name for this moment in the UK auction world. A buyer wins a car for £5,000, feels like a genius, and then the invoice arrives for $6,300, and the panic sets in. But all of this, the premium, the fees, the tax, is the part you can at least calculate before you bid, if you know to look. The real danger isn't in the fees you can add up. It's in a single piece of paper you cannot see from the bidding floor, one that never shows up in the auctioneer's chant. And it can quietly cut the value of that car in half.
Here is the piece of paper that decides everything: the title. Because auctions are the single biggest outlet on earth for cars with a branded title, a title stamped salvage or rebuilt. And those words mean something specific and frightening. They mean that at some point, an insurance company looked at that car, added up the damage, and declared it a total loss, a write-off. Then someone repaired it, or claimed to, and sent it back out to be sold. To you. And here's the trap inside the trap. A salvage title tells you the car was totaled, but it never tells you how badly or how well it was fixed. The damage could have been a bit of hail, or it could have been a flood that rotted the wiring, or a structural hit that no amount of fresh paint can undo. You cannot tell from the paper. What you can tell is the price. A salvage car might show a tempting median of under $4,000, and that number pulls buyers in like a magnet. But watch what happens to that bargain. A branded title cuts a car's resale value roughly in half. It is hard to insure. It can be hard to register. And the repair may be hiding structural damage you'll only discover at 70 miles an hour. Add up the repair, the inspection, the higher insurance, and the gutted resale value, and that $4,000 steal quietly becomes the most expensive car on the street. And this is where each country hides a completely different version of the trap. In the United Kingdom, the title becomes a category. Cat N means non-structural damage, but Cat S means the structure itself was compromised. Repairable, but it must be re-inspected and re-registered with the DVLA before it's even legal to drive. And Cat A and Cat B? By law, those must be crushed. Buy the wrong category without knowing, and you've bought legally certified scrap. In Australia, the danger isn't only in the title, it's in an invisible debt. Before you bid on anything, you are supposed to run the PPSR, the register that reveals whether the car still has finance owing on it. Because if you buy a car with a loan attached and you skipped that check, the lender can come after the car while it's sitting in your driveway. The previous owner's debt can quietly become your problem. And in the United States and Canada, the branding itself shifts underneath you, state by state and province by province. A title branded rebuilt and road legal in one state can be classed non-repairable in another. The same car, two opposite legal fates, decided entirely by where you try to register it. And here is what makes every bit of this so dangerous. You accepted all of it. The fees, the title, the hidden damage, the debt. And you did it without ever once turning the key. Because at a car auction, you almost never get to.
Think about how you normally buy a car. At a dealership, you sit in it, you take it for a test drive. You feel the brakes, you listen for the rattle, you notice if it pulls to the left. And if something goes wrong next week, you have some recourse. Now throw all of that out, because at a car auction, almost none of it exists. You get a brief walk around. You might, if you're lucky, hear the engine idle for a few seconds in a crowded lot. And that is it. Spotting a dying transmission, a slipping gearbox, a knock deep in the engine, from a 10-second idle in a noisy yard, it is nearly impossible. And this is where that key you won at the hammer finally shows you what it really is. The key opens the door. It lights up the dashboard. It looks and feels exactly like ownership. But it never once promised the car would actually move. And you accepted it without being allowed to test that. That's what as is, no warranty, no returns truly means. The instant the hammer fell, every invisible problem inside that car stopped being the previous owner's problem and became yours. The key didn't hand you a car. It handed you everything the last owner already knew was wrong with it. Because that's what an auction car really is. A sealed box with 4 wheels. You see the paint, you hear 10 seconds of engine, and then you bet thousands of dollars on everything you cannot see. The service history that doesn't exist, the odometer that may have been rolled back, the flood damage hiding under a fresh carpet, the frame that was straightened just enough to look right in the photos. You are not buying what's in front of you. You were buying the story you were never told. So go back to that man in his garage. The click, click, click of an engine that will not turn over. He didn't buy a cheap car. He bought the exact problem that made the last owner dump it at an auction in the first place. And he paid in full for the privilege of finding out what that problem was. The discount he was so proud of was never really a discount. It was a deposit on a mystery. So how does this keep happening over and over to smart, careful people? How does someone who would never buy a house without an inspection raise a paddle on a car they've barely seen? The answer isn't that they're foolish. The answer is that the auction is engineered. Every sound, every rule, every ticking clock to make you feel like you won, right up until the moment the invoice and the engine finally tell you the truth. So let's look at exactly how the trap springs, because it is not an accident. An auction is a machine built to manufacture one feeling: urgency. The auctioneer's chant is designed to be hypnotic. The crowd around you is bidding, which means the crowd around you is competing, and nothing shuts down careful thinking faster than the fear of losing to the person next to you. Every rule pushes the same direction. Decide now, decide fast, decide before you've had time to actually think. And the cruelest part is the math itself. Remember, the buyer's premium is a percentage, so the instant your adrenaline takes over and you throw in one more bid, the fee riding on top of it grows too, automatically. The system literally charges you more the more emotional you get.
And then the storage clock starts ticking the second you win. So there's no cooling off period, no quiet drive home to reconsider. You are pushed from the high of winning straight into booking transport before the feeling fades. Every single piece of it is engineered to keep you moving too fast to read the fine print. So go back to the very beginning. That hammer. That single sound that felt, in the moment, like the peak of victory, the smartest thing you'd ever done with your money. You know now what it actually was. It was not the end of a clever purchase. It was the beginning of an invoice you never read. It was the precise instant a stranger's hidden problems stopped being theirs and silently became yours. No test drive, no warranty, no returns, no way back. The hammer didn't close a bargain. It closed a trap, and it locked you inside it. And here is the truth underneath all of it. The one line to remember the next time a number at an auction looks too good to be true. The discount was never a gift. It was a fee. It was the exact price the market quietly pays you for agreeing to take on everything it could see, and you couldn't. Every dollar you saved was really a dollar of risk handed to you in the dark. That is the whole game. The bargain and the trap were never two different things. They were always the very same number, read from two different sides. So does that mean you should never, ever buy a car at auction? Not at all. Because there are people who do this again and again and genuinely come out ahead. They buy well, they resell for a profit, they build entire businesses on that hammer. The difference between them and the man standing in his garage isn't luck, and it isn't secret access. It comes down to three specific things, and once you see them, you'll never look at an auction the same way again. So here are the three things that separate the winners from the man in the garage, and not one of them is luck. The first, they calculate the all-in cost before they ever raise a paddle. Not the hammer price, the real price. Hammer plus premium plus fees plus transport plus the tax plus a brutally honest repair estimate. They set one maximum number, and no matter how loud the adrenaline gets, they do not cross it. The bid that feels exciting is exactly the bid that loses money. The second, they price the repair accurately, and they know what the car actually resells for in their own local market. Not nationally, not in a video, in their town. Because guessing the resale wrong by even $1,500 turns a winner into a loss. And the third, they treat the title as the first thing they check, never the last. Salvage, rebuilt, category, finance owing, that's step one, before the bidding, not a surprise after it. And can you actually make money doing this? Yes. Honestly, yes. Realistic margins run around $1,000 to $3,000 on a typical used car. But here's the number that really matters, the one the hustle videos skip. Annualized return. A car that nets you $2,000 in 20 days beats a car that nets $3,000 in 120, because your money recycles far faster. And watch the law. Most places cap how many cars you can sell in a year without a dealer license, commonly just 3 to 5. Cross that line, and your side hustle is suddenly an illegal dealership. So who gets burned? The person who treats the hammer price as the final price. The one who confuses cheap with good deal. The one who gets caught in the adrenaline and blows past their maximum. The one who ignores the title. And the one who forgets that with no test drive, they were always betting blind. The auction didn't betray them. It did exactly what it always does. They just never read the fine print. And this is true everywhere the hammer falls. In the United States,
the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, the chant sounds the same, and the fine print charges the same toll. The salvage title, the VAT, the GST, the finance still owing on the car. The bargain is local. The trap is universal. So here is the real truth about a car auction. It is not a place where cars are cheap. It is a place where risk is transferred from the person who knew exactly what was wrong with that car to the person who didn't. The bargain and the trap were always the same number. And the only question the hammer ever truly asks is this: did you read the fine print, or did you just hear the discount? So tell me down in the comments, knowing all of this now, would you still raise that paddle? And tell me your country, because your fine print is different from everyone else's. Subscribe, because next time we take apart another bargain that was never really a bargain. One asset, real numbers, and the part nobody reads before they raise the paddle.